No one gets to start off from the top. Absolutely no one. Perhaps we may not all have to start from the same level, and that's quite understandable, but definitely not from the very top. We all, in one way or the other, at a point, will have to start from a certain beginning, regardless of who gave birth to you or where you come from. So Peter Buffett once said that no matter who your parents are, you've got your own life to figure out. And there's no doubt about that. Just think about it. Everything that you see, the beauty, the glamour, and everything that you admire, the success, the big companies, the mansions, the mind-blowing projects, they all have genesis that you probably haven't heard, seen, or bothered to research on. But it is certain that everything has got a certain beginning. If you never begin something today, there is no hope for you getting anything done in the future. And so you've got to get this into your mind. It has never, and it will never be a crime to be called a beginner. If you never play the role of a beginner, it's highly unlikely to become a master. That is a fact. The mechanic that you can trust your vehicle to was once an apprentice. That fashion designer that you have no doubt and uncertainties were entrusting your expensive cloth and fabrics to was once an apprentice. Those skillful sportsmen that you can bet every penny on and pay to watch them play were once almost nobody. The man of God that you celebrate every moment of your life didn't start this way. I can go on and on and on without running out of examples. But here is the thing. Whoever wants to be a leader must appreciate being a follower. Whoever wants to ascend the ladder of greatness must accept the role of a beginner. You've got to accept the beginner role if you really want to master and practice that skill. If you want to become proficient at that very field, you need to accept to be mentored. There is no teacher who was not taught. Every teacher was once a student. They were taught, they were mentored, they were lectured, they were assessed, and they were passed out. Every master was once a trainee, an apprentice, or even an errand boy, just as every good leader was once a follower or a subordinate. The earlier you realize and accept the reality and begin the journey, the better your chances of ascending to the top. There's no greatness without challenges, I must admit that. When you are beginning as a beginner, when you are beginning as a fresher, as a trainee, as an apprentice, you go through a lot of frustrations, you go through a lot of hardships, there's a lot of ups and downs. But that should not be the reason why you will not be able to start. Unfortunately, the start is what stops most people. When people are about to start, they look at the beginning, they look at the ladder, and they are so much concerned, So before they start, they had already stopped. But if you don't start from that end, it will be very difficult for you to ascend. That is what I want you to understand. You are not going to start from the top. No, it is not going to happen that way. So you need to accept that beginner role. You need to accept that learner role. You need to accept that responsibility of beginning it. And with time, you are sooner or later going to ascend to the top. That is the way to go. I must admit that the beginner level is characterized by a lot of frustrations, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of try and errors, a lot of randomness. But that is fine, because until you begin something, until you decide to settle from the very beginning, it is quite unlikely that you would actually become a master. So I want you to understand that every master was once a beginner. Everyone who is good at something was once a learner. So I want you to have that mindset to begin. I want you to have that mindset to be as a learner. I want you to accept the fact you started today, and with time, you got to the top.